speakers. You gotta listen to music and gameplay somehow. I mean, when's the last time you've ever actually tried playing, a AAA game without speakers? It probably sucked. And I don't mean like big chungus desktop speakers or speakers you're gonna find like a movie theater. I mean, headphones also do count as speakers in a sense. I mean, they're speakers for your ears. But Bluetooth speakers are a weird thing. Basically what it is, that's a speaker that you don't need a cable for except to charge it, and it just is wireless. It connects to, your favorite yelling rectangles that track you everywhere. But I actually don't really have any Bluetooth speakers, and I technically do, but it's this thing. Don't laugh, this is actually a Bluetooth speaker. It's a little stormtrooper. I like Star Wars. The sequel trilogy still sucks. Anyways, this thing is one of the things I got. Yeah, this is a thing that exists. I know it's a Bluetooth speaker, but this thing was $10. So if it sucks, it's because it's cheap, not because it's actually completely garbage. But it's from a company called Two Boom, which I don't think any of you have probably ever heard of before, and it's their Torrent. Torrent of something. I don't know what, but it's definitely Torrent of something. Portable wireless speaker. It's got Bluetooth in it, and you can look at it, and just look at it, it's like, it's a weird brick, but it has buttons on the top. It's got two speakers, or what looks like maybe two speakers. It's probably actually only just one. Blue LED and green LED. Does this thing have RGB? I am intrigued. I got some junk on the side, nothing on top, more junk on the side, and on the bottom is more trash as usual. But there's a couple things worth noting about it when you just look at the back. It's got a built-in mic, which I don't remember the last time a Bluetooth speaker had a built-in mic, but if this thing actually works, that might be kind of interesting. It's got deep bass. I can tell you right now that deep does not mean a ton of bass, but you know what? If this thing has a ton of bass, that's not going to be too surprising either. Hands-free talk. I would hope so. It's got a microphone. And rubber exterior, because we like our products turning into oil in 10 years or so. And then we got the specs. So it's actually Bluetooth 5, which I know doesn't sound too cutting edge. I mean, we're on Bluetooth, like 5.3, 5.4 now? But Bluetooth 5 on a cheap product like this is not something to really be, like, laughing at. It's got a 32-foot Bluetooth range, which is actually quite a bit. I don't have a lot of Bluetooth products, so I don't know exactly, like, out range test or anything. Frequency range, 85 hertz to 20 kilohertz. So if you're anyone who's like an audio nerd, basically what that means is that the human hearing range goes from 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. You generally don't hear the 20 kilohertz. Most people can't hear the entire spectrum. They only have like chunks of it, or maybe they can't hear the entire top end. But 85 hertz, that means that this thing does not actually have really low bass, but it probably means it has punchy bass. That's probably what they mean. It's 3 watts. It is 2 drivers, so 6 watts total then. Well, minus all the other extra stuff. And it does have a rechargeable battery, so that's cool. It's got 2 52mm drivers, which is about par for the course for a speaker. Other than that, it's got 3 to 5 hour charging time, a 4-hour playtime use with under 50% volume. So hopefully this thing's loud enough. But another cool thing that it has, it's got a USB cable, audio cable, and manual. Audio cable I'm hoping is aux cable, which means I can actually plug this thing into something where the battery's dead, and it'll actually probably, hopefully, work. But it also has FM radio, because why? But it also has a micro SD card slot. Now, a lot of cheaper products tend to do that, where they have like a micro SD card built in, or not built in, but they have a slot, so you don't have to like connect your phone to it or anything. You just plug it in, and it just goes straight in, or slot it in, as it were. Which is actually kind of cool. Again, $10. Not bad. But let's see if it's actually as good as it claims to be. If it claims to be good at anything, really. Alright, I got the box onto the desk. Got a new desk pad, actually. So, not the old one. The old one looked like trash, and it wasn't that comfortable anymore, so I got a new one. So it's been serving me pretty well. Let's bust this thing open. That's nice. Got my Swiss Army knife here. Now, this thing I got for 10 bucks. I have no idea how much this thing usually retails for. I don't know if I got ripped off or anything. But I would imagine it's probably not much cheaper. So, quickly, like, just before I open this thing, like, packaging-wise, not complete trash. I mean, I can hear there's definitely plastic on the inside. That is something I can easily tell. But yeah, packaging isn't completely trash. Like, for those who don't know, a really, really easy and dirty way to just figure out, like, the quality of a product is the quality of the packaging. The actual box doesn't feel too bad. Like, it's not the highest quality, but it's like, yeah, it's not bad. It's like matte and then like glossy, and it's different textures and whatnot. Yeah, it's about par for the course what you would expect. But for 10 bucks, it's actually not terrible. Oh boy. Okay, yeah, as I suspected, it's got this plastic. Here we go. Oh wow. They just packed everything in there. That's the box. So, gotta get this out. Ooh. So, it does feel like it. Well, it doesn't actually feel like it has a rubberized design. So it did say it had like a rubberized design, but I think it means it has like rubber feet. Which, as you can see, there's a little like thing on it. Actually, might be made of metal. Well, if it is, it's pretty cheap metal. This is not like a rubberized build, and if it is, which it does kind of feel like it, they're using so little of it, it doesn't actually seem to really make much of a difference. But you can look closely, there's 2 speakers in there, and then on the top, it looks like you've got, I don't know if the camera can pick it up. So this looks like, volume down, pause play, volume up, mute, and then like microphone thing, so wherever that phone button is. And on the back, you actually have some other stuff. So you have a USB-A port, you have micro USB, which sucks. I mean, there is no reason to be using micro USB in 2024. Like, that's just bad. It does have an aux port, so that's good. On-off switch.
Power on.
Oh, wow. That is a very stiff switch. It has a TF card port, or trans flash, which is an outdated term for SD. There are some times when that isn't going to work, but it said micro SD, so I'm just going to take their word for it. It most likely is micro USB, or I mean, micro SD, and it comes with a little bag with extra stuff. That's not important anymore. So we have the product registration, Y, and then we actually have like a little thing that just like tells you how it, like a little manual, user manual. Yeah, this thing is actually really nice because just, I say really nice, it's not like a big booklet with every language. It's actually like just one thing. Huh, actually not completely terrible. It does have an aux cable, and I think this is standard. Whoa, that is not a long aux cable. That is really short. But I'm pretty sure this isn't proprietary. Like the One More Sonar Flows, the video I did, apparently that aux cable, one end of it's actually like smaller, and it's only allowed to fit in that one port, which means you are stuck with that cable and no other cable unless you can find one that has that specific like connector. So that's kind of unfortunate. And then we have the micro USB, which is same length? Yeah, it's the same length. That is the most disappointing micro USB cable I've seen in a long time. And I have enough of these, I don't really care. And that's it. That is everything in that box. Like, hold on, let me just give you kind of an idea. This box holds this. I mean, actually, okay, it's pretty close to my size. Or according to the box, like, it's pretty close. It's not too far off. Huh. If you look at the back, there's like this little thing. Ooh. I can't tell if that's made of metal. That is definitely like a cold material. It might be metal. Yeah, this is like for bass. It does, I'm pretty sure it does something. Probably not a whole lot on this device in particular, but it does have a purpose. Alright. It's time for me to actually test this thing out. In terms of sound quality, everything. Obviously, I have to take these little bits off. Yeah, that is definitely rubber. Ooh. That is definitely rubberized design. Nice peels just to take off. And there we go. Now it has like anti-slip. Oh, wow. Oh, that is crooked. I don't know if you can see, but one of these is particularly crooked. This one's just off a little bit, which is kind of weird. But I mean, again, $10. There's, I would have expected this thing to not come with anything, but you know what? $10, why not? All right, so it's time to turn this thing on to see the sound of it, to see like what it sounds like. Oh, my webcam's all kind of, okay, that's good. See how it sounds.
Power on. The Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
Am intrigued. Usually they have like, it's what sounds like an Asian woman just saying, hey, it's ready to pair. But that's kind of different. I like that. And yes, it turns out it does have RGB. That's actually kind of really funny. Now I have to get this thing paired up to my phone. One moment, please.
The Bluetooth device is connected successfully.
There we go. Interesting. Like it sounds like that's whoever just made this recorded this in like an office or something. But yeah, it's been paired. Has crazy LED design, and it's at 70% battery, which isn't too bad. But this thing was made pretty recently, 2023. So, you know, as you'd expect. Now time to get some tunes open and ready to go. Okay, I've done a bit of listening to a number of different songs, and I gotta say, it's not as bad as I thought it'd be. But that's not saying a whole lot, considering that again this thing was $10. So, what exactly are my impressions in terms of how this thing sounds? Well, meh. It doesn't sound terrible, okay? Now, that being said, it does not sound great. Like, yes, it can get louder than, you know, your phone speakers, sure. But this, the aux cable solution, not great. I found that this thing at half volume Bluetooth was the equivalent of this thing full volume. In only some of the songs I tested it in, because other songs it was quieter. So that is something definitely to think about. So yeah, not particularly the best in terms of like raw sound quality, you know, as you would expect, you know, $10. But in the songs I tested, I was very, very not fair about it. You know, I tested pieces that are a little bit more complicated, you know, that have a lot of layers to it. And I'm not going to go through every single one and say, like, how did it sound in every single piece? Because, honestly, I don't want this to be a 50-minute video, because that'd be stupid of me nowadays. So, like, just quickly breaking down. Things like Lindsey Sterling's Beyond the Veil. It's got this very clean, very, not really ethereal, but this very forward kind of violin with layers in the background of vocal movements and like bass and such. And then at the beginning there's this big, like almost like a snare bomb, but it's not actually a snare. It sounds more like a big orchestral drum that was made to sound kind of like a snare. And this thing did not really represent the bass you could get out of it. Like, it says deep bass, but I found that the bass of this thing was actually kind of lackluster, to say the least, which you would expect. You know, it's 85 hertz. So, you know, some of the pieces, especially, so one of them I did was one called Rush Over Me. It's a collaboration of a bunch of different musicians, and just before the chorus, there's this almost like a sub drop, really, or like this frequency that just keeps going down. And this only got to only part of it, because you should hear it all the way until the chorus hits. This didn't really represent that. It got part of it and then just stopped. I couldn't hear the lowest part of that bass just going down. I couldn't hear it out of this. Another one was Apocalypse Orchestra's Garden of Earthly Delights, one of my favorite pieces of all time. Lots of different layers. You got this combination of you got a combination of bagpipes. You got the hurdy-gurdy, if anyone knows what that thing is. You've got big orchestral drums that are just beating in the background. You have this complete metal drum set with 8-string, 6-string guitars and a 4-string bass. And then you have these very good vocals coming through, these very choral vocals. And it sounded okay. Like, it did not sound as good as these. I will say that right now. The bass was very lackluster out of this. I think that's the easiest way to describe it. The bass was not great. When you have a ton of layers in songs, kind of like it again, Apocalypse Orchestra, I found that it kind of blurred a lot of the low end together. It just became muddy. The trebles are sharp, but also not loud enough, if that makes any sense. The mids are very prominent out of these. And which is kind of interesting, considering that a lot of these kinds of products, these cheaper products, tend to do a lot of bass and a lot of treble to make it fun sounding. This is more mids, as it come to find out, which is, voices, most instruments, stuff like that, most frequencies that you can hear. The high treble, again, very sharp, but not very present. The bass doesn't go low enough, and it tends to get pretty muddy. Another piece, Ascara's Fornix. It's a this progressive metal full piece, as it's called, and the guitar gets very low, and there's a lot of layers in its chugs, but also has a very chaotic rhythm. This didn't represent the punch of that guitar, and the punch from the snares and whatnot. So there's that. So kind of not the best in terms of sounds. Like my little Stormtrooper thing here sounds okay. It doesn't sound amazing, but you'd be impressed at how much volume you get out of this tiny thing. It's actually kind of nice. Does it sound better than a phone speaker? Yes. Does it sound better than that? My Stormtrooper thing? I don't know, I haven't used it in a minute, but yeah. But in the test pieces, it just did not sound amazing. The mids sounded fine. It didn't have the best clarity, especially again when you have a ton of layers going. The bass doesn't go low enough, and then the high treble, it's sharp but not very present. You can tell it's very piercing, but it's not loud enough to make it sound piercing. And while I was listening, I actually found a couple of things with the manual. There are so many things wrong with this. iPhone, but it's capital I lowercase p for the phone, and same with iPad. So, top bullet point on the basic specification, just one specification, but there's an entire list here. Interesting. So, with the newest wireless BT tech to support iPhone, iPad, intelligent phone, ECT devices enjoying the high-quality sound freely. First of all, it's etc., not etc. It's etc., so you messed that one up. And it's smartphone, not intelligent. So I'm pretty sure that they just took this and shoved it through Google Translate. And not even getting into all the different formatting and whatnot. The formatting in this is weird. And I found this to be funny as well. So on this little booklet, there's actually a section, Common Problems and Solving Methods. Okay, hear me out. It says, after playing for a long time, the device will often turn off in auto. The battery is insufficient. Please charge it to full capacity, then turn it on again. I mean, this thing says it has a 1200 milliamp hour battery, so maybe it's just because the battery ran out at that time? Or that the battery isn't sufficient for this thing? I don't know. I found that it lasted during all the listening session, though, so that was pretty good. Number 3 on this one. Cannot connect the BT, Bluetooth. And it says please, but it's spelled PLZ. Check whether already enter into the Bluetooth search mode or not. Space, comma, space, or reboot the device. Sometimes many Bluetooth devices are around. Please turn them off. Again, PLZ. I don't know. It's just... How do you mess up translating that bad? But yeah, I find that hilarious. I'm actually gonna keep this thing. That's so funny. I also looked at the manual again just to check. So this button here actually replays previous song, but if you hold it down, it can actually change volume. Same thing with the plus button, except it's volume up / track forward. This M button is actually mode switch, so you can switch between Bluetooth, radio, USB, and micro SD if you're someone who cares about that. But it says it can automatically switch to SD when you have SD in, so I don't know. And then this is pause, play, the triangle, and then the phone button. I was like, okay, maybe it's just like maybe that's how you use the microphone, but no, it's a pause / phone call, pickup, or hang up. So this thing can do phone calls effectively, which I'm not too interested in doing because that means I can't actually record it, which is very unfortunate. So, sad. Can't record funny voices through this, but regardless, I mean, $10 for a $10 speaker. All right, let me just put the context. For a $10 speaker, it sounds better than I thought. Okay, that being said, this thing does not compare to any actual pair of headphones that you would probably have lying around. Is it better than a phone speaker? Yes. But is it better than, my Logitech headset? No. Is it better than my KZ earbuds? These things. Actually, the cable just disconnected from, but that's the point. They have a removable cable. Very cool. These things sound better. It's able to... What I found with these, that it keeps like the bass and the trebles more recessed and the mids forward. Whereas something like, again, my headset, or in my case of the earbuds, they kind of keep them all forwards enough. But yeah, I just kind of found this to be not as good as I would have ultimately hoped for it to be, but $10, maybe, not bad. But yeah, speaker from Boom. So I guess if you wanted to spend like $10 on a speaker, you've never had a Bluetooth speaker, it's not terrible. But I mean, you could probably get better options, especially if you have a headphone jack, which, oh look, my phone has a headphone jack. Take that, Apple. You're still behind the curve. But yeah, this was a thing, and I'm gonna keep this now. There's that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Yes, there will be more All the Mods 9 content coming out. Just give me time. I need to get more ideas put together. My brain cells need to chug faster. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.